Hey all, Viviurzo here to talk to the Void once more, and... Alright guys, I'm gonna level with you. I have a condition. Whenever I go into any place that has DVDs for sale, I have to take a look. I collect far more than I should. Particularly horror films, as you probably could have guessed by the subject matter of mostly what I review here. And unfortunately for me, most of the used places within walking distance of my place, or at least on the route from work to home, have shut down. Not even related to the situation in the world, they just, well, one of them did from that, but the main one I went to just moved away just before that happened, so. But there's still a little bit of light there, as the Dollar Tree, of all places, regularly gets in movies. So I peruse, and occasionally I find some movies I've actually been looking for. Sometimes I'll find things I didn't know I was looking for, but mostly what I find is dollar store horror films, and there's a lot of them. And every time I go in, I usually leave with several. I have a whole stack sitting off camera that I'm working my way through. So I dug deep, and actually sat down and watched one of them today. Storage 24. Well, I will give it. It was at least worth the dollar I paid for it. And actually, for some of the movies that I just pick up randomly there, I've been pleasantly surprised by. I actually might be going over one of those shortly, as I kind of want to rewatch Gongjiam, but I'll get to that another day. And sometimes I find some strange movies, but this one, actually, it kept nagging at me that I'd heard this movie before, but nothing about it really jumped out at me. Apparently, this one's a British film that released theatrically over in Britain, did okay before going worldwide. It did release stateside in theaters, one day, on one screen, and grossed $72. Good job. Good job. So, Storage 24. What is it about? Well, a group of people get trapped in a storage facility. One of those 24-hour store your stuff things. As they're going through a messy breakup. So the couple and a couple of their friends are all there to go to box up their stuff, divide it up a bit. They're not happy that they're each there at the same time. But then a plane crashes, and suddenly there's a monster running around the storage facility, killing people. Okay. Okay. So, the movie itself, it's not really that bad. It's just okay. There's nothing really stand out about it, but there was one pleasant surprise I did have, and that was, actually is there on the front. Noel Clark's in this. That was kind of a surprise to me. You may not recognize Noel Clark by the name, but if any of you follow Doctor Who, he was Mickey in the first couple seasons of the newer series. So, hey, it was good to see him again. And as much as I kind of like him, he's one of the main problems of this movie, as he is our protagonist, and he is very whiny. He's kind of typecast in that now that I come to think about it. Anyway, he's just broke up with he plays Charlie, who just broke up with his girlfriend Shelly after 5 years, and he is not taking it well. He keeps demanding answers, and she really doesn't have many for him, other than that she's cheating on him with his best friend, but anyway, when the plane goes down, the power grid gets a little bit messed up, so the storage facility goes into lockdown, locks everybody in. The power keeps going off and on. and there's a monster running around. So I'm led to believe it's an alien running around. It doesn't really go into where that until the end, other than it looks like stereotypically alien-y. But yeah, that's pretty much it. They're just trying to get out of the thing while being chased by a monster. Doesn't really do much above and beyond with that basic premise. The monster design itself is fine, and while it being mostly CG, it's actually fairly good CG for the monster itself. Though I will say, when it's chasing them through the storage units, it kind of bounces around the tops of them as it chases after them, and it looks a little ridiculous when it does. And they do show the monster full on way too early. They should have built it up a little bit more, but it's a decent design. So, okay. The characters are kind of the downfall here. I mean, the acting itself is fine. Well cut off above a lot of things I've seen on here, but you got Charlie, who is whining most of the movie. He does have a bit of an arc, and it does help, but you got his best friend, Mark, who he's okay. He's not too bad. Nikki, who is the best friend of Charlie's ex, isn't bad, but she's traditional dumb blonde and leans into that. Shelly, she's fine. The girlfriend, she actually does a good job. We try to go into a complex breakup of, nah, like Charlie didn't really do anything wrong. She just doesn't feel that way about him anymore. Wants to just move on with her life. So she does a good job. Really, it's mostly Charlie's character, but I see what they're trying to do. But it's a hard character to get behind when he's the protagonist. If they had maybe made it more from Shelley's perspective, it could have worked a lot better. She was more likable, and you kind of felt more what she was going through. I will say, as much as it kind of, when things go down and her new boyfriend situation clearly falls apart, I will give the movie props for one thing. It doesn't shoehorn Shelley and Charlie back together, despite their breakup. I mean, Charlie goes out of his way to save her, but at that point, he's not doing it to get back with her. He's doing it just because, he wants to save a person he cares about. And at the end, they don't really hook back up. They just walk out the door. Do you need a ride? No? Okay. It's okay. Okay. Props for that. Most movies of this type would have forced them back together. So, there are things to like here. Also, there's a good mixture of practical and CG, so the CG doesn't stand out as much because they kind of switch back and forth enough. Though I will say the ending stinger of the movie was kind of silly and unnecessary. But, yeah, for a British take on Alien, I guess, it's fine. I mean, could be that I paid all of $1 for it, so maybe going a little easy on it, but it's nowhere near the pot of other things I've been seeing on here. I'm trying to debate where to put it on my MacGuffin scale, because it's definitely not a 1. It's nowhere near the bottom. For 2s, it's better than most of the movies I put at 2, but it's not quite as good as most of the movies I put at 3. So it's kind of riding right between there. I'm going to probably have to put this one at a 2. I'm probably not going to watch this one very often. Well, most movies at 3, I'm at least curious enough to revisit at some point. Despite everything this one did have going for it, it just does not pull enough together, so 2 MacGuffins. Go with 2 MacGuffins on this one. But yeah, Mickey. Good to see him again. That was the most pleasant surprise of the movie, really. Yep. Oh, don't know if there's really anything else to add on this movie. That's the problem. It's not good enough to sing its praises, but it's not bad enough to have as much to talk about. I mean, when I see a movie like Killjoy or Claw, I can talk a lot about those movies. This one, it doesn't have anything, no real drive, nothing going for it. That's kind of the problem. So, yeah, 2. I'll see you guys next time. I probably just gonna keep probably revisit a movie that I've seen before but haven't in a while. I got a couple ideas. I'm just not sure which I'm gonna settle on yet, but we'll have something to talk about in a couple days, I'm sure. All right, take care, everybody.